I'm not a writer, so please forgive errors, and this may not flow as well as I would like it, but I'm going to do my best. A little background first. This happened about 4 years ago. At the time, I was almost 8 months pregnant, so very noticeable, and was doing some Christmas shopping at the local mall. It was around 9 o'clock at night. I finished up my shopping and headed out of the mall towards my truck. At this mall, there's a road that goes around the mall, and the parking is on the other side of the road. Therefore, you have to cross the road to get to the parking area. As I am leaving the store, I happened to notice a man standing in the middle of the road. He looked in my direction and made eye contact. I looked away and kept going. At this time, there are 2 men that walk past him to go into the mall. He never looks at them or says anything to them, but kept his eyes on me the whole time. I noticed that he started to walk in my direction, but I keep on strolling to my vehicle. Then I hear, "Excuse me, can you help me?" Being Southern has its downfalls, and one of those is having it ingrained into you to be polite. I simply just asked, "What do you need?" He looked around and said, "Could you help me start my car? I think my battery is dead." I may be Southern, but I'm not that polite, nor am I stupid. Please remember that I am very much pregnant, and a woman walking alone in a parking lot. If he was having car trouble, it is likely that he would ask a pregnant woman for help rather than the 2 men that just walked past him. Doubtful. At this point, I know it's time to go. So I just say, "Sorry, I can't help," and keep on walking. A little faster this time. I still see him out of the corner of my eye following me. I have my keys out and I'm ready to go as soon as I make it to my truck. He's still coming. "You really aren't gonna help me? I just need a jump." And again, I say, "Nope, sorry." I finally get to my truck, unlock it, and jump in. He's practically running towards me now. I lock the doors and try to get the key in the ignition, but I was shaking, and at that moment, the damn key just wouldn't fit into the damn ignition. He gets to the truck and hits my window, saying, "I just need your help for a minute." Now, I'm starting to get angry, and I yell, "No! Get the hell away from me!" He grabs the door handle and tries to open my door and screams, "Just open your door!" Here is where I lost my cool and made a split-second decision. I have my concealed carry license because there have been other reasons that I needed protection that I will not go into here. However, I did have my .38 special in my console that I do know how to use. When he tried to open my door, my only thought was to protect my child and myself. I rolled the window down, grabbed the .38, and pointed it right in his face and said, "I'm not gonna tell you again. Get the fuck away from me." He stood there for a moment, in shock, I'm sure. In that moment, time stopped. I didn't know what he would do, but I knew that I was prepared to use this gun if he made me. He didn't, by the way. He didn't say a word. He turned and ran. I know I should have gotten the hell out of Dodge then. I was terrified of not only what he may have done to me had I not felt that something was wrong, but also that I just had to threaten to kill someone. Not a situation I ever wanted to be in again. However, should it happen, I still have that .38, and it's loaded and ready to go. So, man at the mall, I hope we never meet again.
This was probably the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life. A couple of years back, a mate and I were traveling into the city on the train. We were sitting there just admiring the girls wearing all their summer clothing. We pulled into a station not far from the CBD and noticed a man get on the train. Nothing really strange about him besides the fact that you got an odd feeling around him. He began to walk up the carriage as the train pulls out of the station. My mate and I continue talking and notice a father with his son and daughter, probably no older than 8 or 9, just chilling, chatting away when the guy walks past them. Yeah, the creepy guy. He slows down and looks at the children, then begins to sing Christmas carols. He just starts to walk away, but still singing. My mate and I converse about how odd that is, but figure we only have not long till we're in the city. The man walks back to the father, son, and daughter, and stops and turns to them and begins to sing a new song. I'm not sure of the song itself because I was ready to punch this guy figuring he was a pedophile or something. And the only line I remember hearing was, "Sweet little virgin, all tender and mild." We unfortunately were sitting on an angle in which we could see past his sunglasses and see his eyes. They were popping out of his head staring at this girl. Well, ready to get up and say something, the train pulls into a station and the man left. An overwhelming relief just came over me when he left, but I've seen him since, and have always been freaked out by him.
A little over 4 years ago, I moved in with my sister Ellen, who is 2 years older than me. She moved into her apartment around June 2010. So when she got a Christmas card the next year, addressed to someone named Ida, we didn't think much of it, as we thought it probably was for the person who lived there before us. One thing about the card was odd though. The only signature was a male name, and then the name of a town. That particular town is known for its mental institution, for dangerous and insane criminals. There's only like 4,000 people living there, so the institution is what you think of when you hear the name of the town. We brushed it off as a mistake, figuring the person who lived there before didn't give the new address to the one sending the card. We had almost forgotten about it when the same thing happened the following Christmas. It was signed with the same sender and receiver as the year before. A little creeped out since we now remembered that the person living there before us was an old man who passed away after living there for decades. We brushed it off once again since there was nothing that could be done. Now, this is when it gets even weirder. My sister got both of our parents' names since they didn't marry until a month after she was born. She decided to use our mom's name, which is more uncommon. And I decided to use our dad's name, which is one of the most common names in Sweden. This is important because the next Christmas, 2012, I had moved back home about 20 miles away in the middle of nowhere. A couple of days before Christmas, my sister came to stay with us during the holiday. The next day, there was a new card in our mailbox. It had my sister's address on it, as usual, but it was now waiting for her in our dad's mailbox. That mailbox doesn't have her name on it since our mom passed away years before this. The card couldn't possibly have gotten there by the mailman since there is no connection between the two addresses. Still, it had prints on the stamp that proved that it had been sent with the mail. The only explanation I can think of is that whoever sent the card must have picked it up at my sister's when noticing that she wasn't home, and then somehow figured out where she was. There is also the possibility that the cards were meant for me.
I've been working at a restaurant for about 8 months now. My first job there was as a busser. I worked very hard and made a lot of friends because I did favors for everyone. I would help other people do their job. I would come early, stay late, and almost every day that I worked there, I would throw out the trash. Needless to say, it didn't take long for my managers to notice, and they started to promote me. After about 3 months of hard work, I became a coach for the new bussers that they would hire. This was when I met Jay. We just got some new bussers, and it was up to me to get them up to speed. Jay stood out from the rest because he was absolutely terrible at his job. I mean, it's hard work, but it has very simple concepts. Pick up dirty plates or cups, throw away the garbage, wipe down tables and seats, then reset the table. Needless to say, he was bad at this simple task if he attempted at all. A lot of times, he would just walk by dirty tables and ignore the mess until someone told him to bus it. I worked with him as much as I could, but he had a permanent scowl and an "I'm too good for this job" air about him. It didn't take very long for everyone on the staff to hate this kid. It was to the point where people would dread to work the same shift as this kid. As for me, well, I knew he was terrible, but I'm a nice person, and I knew that all I needed to do was say the word and he would be gone. But instead, I figured he needed to work just like the rest of us. The final straw was about 2 months ago. As a side note, our restaurant is the busiest sports bar in the state, and would normally schedule 3 to 4 bussers along with 3 to 4 hosts on a single night, and we would all split tip money and walk out with over around 80 to 100 each. That said, I was bussing with Jay, who was terrible at his job, and a new kid who had no training. So I'm in overdrive work mode. I'm not talking to anyone, and my feet are a blur. I'm bussing 10 tops in a minute. The dishwasher was running slow, so I ran to the back and started washing silverware. Garbage was piling up, so I ran to the dump in record time and then right into mopping spills. I hadn't noticed at this point that the other bussers were missing, so now my manager is on the floor helping me bus because I was falling behind. I thought, fuck it. We're crashing and burning, might as well figure out what these guys are up to. I check every nook and cranny of the restaurant. No one has seen these guys for the past 45 minutes. My manager is pissed at me, which was really the hardest part for me. So I was like, fuck it, let me check the parking lot. Lo and behold, I find Jay and the new kid smoking weed in between some cars. I grabbed the new kid by the collar and took him aside. If you want to keep this job, get inside right now and help me out. Me and the new kid went back inside and Jay followed behind us. That night while closing, my managers asked me why I was slacking that night. I responded with explaining that Jay was distracting the new kid by trying to get him to smoke during our dinner rush, but the new kid knew better. I lied because I liked the new guy, and I thought he deserved a real shot like everyone else. The next day, Jay was fired, and everyone knew why. I got him fired. It was Christmas Eve. It was a normal Hispanic Christmas Eve. Drinking, dancing, dominoes, and smoking cigars. It's about 10:45 p.m. and I am smashed. The other people standing at this point was my grandmother, who's a party machine. Me along with my girlfriend, and my uncles and brothers are all just chilling on the couch when I get a text. The area code was from my area, but I didn't recognize the number, and I opened the text, and I see, "Hey bro, it's Jay. I'm a busser at a restaurant, and I was wondering if you are over 21. Yeah, I'm closer to 30 than I am to 21. Oh, cool. Hey, would you want to buy me a bottle? I'm not old enough yet." Sure, where are you at? Oh, I'm just driving around. Text me your address, and I'll come by and pick you up. It was at this point that I got really confused about who I was talking to, because Jay got fired, and I didn't know any other busters named Jay. The liquor store is on the corner of this street and that street. Nah, man, your exact address. I'll swing by and get you. At this point, the red flag was up. Now I was thinking of ways to end the conversation without looking like a dick. Hey Jay, listen, I just googled all the liquor stores in the area, and they are all closed early for Christmas Eve. Nah, dude, I found a 24-hour one. I'm in your part of town. I'll pick you up, and we'll ride out real quick and pick up a bottle. At this point, I was sobering up real quick, because I didn't live anywhere near work, and I know Jay, who worked at my job for 3 weeks, had no clue where I lived. Or so I thought. I showed my girlfriend the text, and she agreed that it was super creepy, and I called my friends from work, and they confirmed there was no new busters named Jay. It had to be the one they fired. Then the dude calls me up. Yo, bro, let me come get you real quick. I know this place in this part of town that has a 24-hour store. Jay, let me call them real quick and make sure that they didn't close early on Christmas Eve just so that we don't waste the drive. Hey, call me back. I hung up and blocked his number. Looking back, if he had called while my local store was open, I probably would have gone with him. It may have been nothing, but my gut was telling me otherwise.
Thank you for watching. I always appreciate the support you show me, and I'm forever grateful for it. Hope everyone had a wonderful day. All my social media information is in the description box below. All the story, music, and image information is below as well. And don't forget,